Hello guys, welcome to another video and welcome to the channel. Today we have here this 1.9 MultiJet engine and I'm about to do the timing job on this. This is very similar to the 8 valve one that I did on the 159. It is down on the description if you want to know more about that, okay? And for the disassembly here of these parts, of this upper support and the covers over here, I already have videos for that when I did remove the high pressure fuel pump, and over there on the accessories belt also I did a video for the pulley and for the tensioner and whatnot, okay? So I think it is good to go here. You can start on this stage. I am to replace here the timing components from Dyco. This is the supplier for the factory, okay? The supplier of the water pump is a Pierreburg one. This is a cover for another thing that I'll show you in a minute, okay? And I also will replace here the thermostat. I already did a video how to replace it, so I will not show you on this video, but it is down on the description. However, I will show you how to expel all of the antifreeze via some tubes that are over here on the thermostat side. I also have here the top of a head of a 16 valve engine, or 1.3 or 1.6 or 20 valve, okay? So I can show you here a thing or two about the synchronization between the two camshafts. Very important to know that when you snap a timing belt on these engines, sometimes after that everything is new again, but the car cranks and does not start. It has to have with that synchronization over there inside. So let's get to it, okay? So one thing that you have to have in mind is you have to make sure that the engine is correctly timed once it reaches you. Because even though the car runs and starts and has a lot of power, does not mean it has the correct timing on it or the correct synchronization. I already encountered several engines that were wrong from the factory. So my first step is to insert here this tool. This tool is spring-loaded, and it will, like a 1.3, it will encounter a small indent. When I rotate the engine, it will engage on that indent and the engine will stop. Normally the crankshaft will be on TDC, and that means that the engine is correctly synchronized. This one probably not, because I already have to put this back together because of the disassembly of the other video, so it may not be on the correct position, and I'm glad for that. So in that way I can show you how to synchronize it correctly without taking out the drive belt over here, like I did on a twin spark engine, okay? Similar to that. And why I'm saying that is, just because you are doing a timing belt and everything is okay, does not mean that you have to come here and start to make some markings over here with the pen, because this mark over here will go to about over here, okay? And over here on this metal you do not have any markings whatsoever, because remember what I told you on the other video, you have a adjustment on this sprocket over here that you have to respect very carefully. So don't go blindfolded and think that the engine is synchronized, or if it is, does not mean that it stays synchronized after you do the timing. Like the twin spark engine, this engine has to be synchronized after you put the new timing belt. As soon as you hear this tool clicking, remember that the tool has to be very easy to remove it, to put back in. Now the tool is on the indentation. Now you put your locking tool on the crankshaft to understand if the crankshaft is on TDC. If not, you can do the adjustment, and I hope it is not, so I can show you the adjustment, okay? And so as you can see over there on that bolt hole over there, does not line up. This happens immensely, and this is exactly what I want to show you. And you can adjust this without taking off the timing belt, which is very crucial to maintain the tension of the belt, just like the twin spark engine that I show you. That video is down on the description if you want to follow that, okay? Just like the twin spark engine, the camshaft is locked with the tool, this tool over here, and I will take out here the bolt, okay? We now are turning the crankshaft to the correct synchronization over there, down there on the tool. In this way, the camshafts are stand still because the locking tool is over here. All of the assembly will rotate, and in this way, top and bottom of the engine will be synchronized. And just like this, you can find the center of the play of the bolt. That center is really TTC, like so. In this way, the tool is free on this engagement with a sprocket, and it's also free here on the bolt. Okay, and now we can lock the top bolt in place, the bolt of the camshafts. Now 110 newtons is the torque for this bolt, okay? Now what you should do, but I will replace here the belt, so I'll do it after, is to rotate the engine 3 or 4 times and then see again if the tools come out easily. Top and bottom. If they are a little bit stuck or very stuck, it means that the engine is not correctly synchronized, okay? Who knew that this diesel engine has so much adjustments here on the timing belt? It may not seem like much, okay, it is only one tooth only, but it translates on the 2 camshafts. That is very important for that. And I will show you that there on this part over here, okay? So here we have a top of a head of this engine, or a similar engine of this, and we have here a perfect example. I just did it on purpose to be out of synchronization between the 2 camshafts. Sorry about the light over here, but we will need this, okay? So, as you can see, as you turn this sprocket over here, both camshafts rotate via those cogs over there, okay? On the newer style, one of them is spring-loaded, so be very careful with that. And that spring-loaded is there to prevent rattling on that area. Sometimes you hear a noise on this area. Normally it is the vacuum pump that is making noise, not this set over here, okay? So as you can see, if this camshaft is wrong because of that adjustments, both camshafts will be wrong, okay? Another thing that can happen, and by the way, when that happens, you can have much more smoke, low fuel consumption, or high fuel consumption for that matter, and some power issues on the car, okay? So, imagine this, you just snap your timing belt for whatever reason, does not matter. The keyway of the sprocket is broken. Now it is a new one. You follow everything as it should be done, and you put here your tool and do everything as it should be done. And you see over there that intail over there. You rotate your camshaft, and it clicks. Okay. So it clicks nicely. And the other one, you also have a watch over here. You have a plug that you have to undo and see, like you have over here near the first glow plug. Okay. Now, normally what we do, professionals, we remove it, and with a mirror we see if the intail that is over there, if the intail is facing the hole. Okay, and also you can use a very small tool just to insert it into a handmade tool to see if everything is okay. Unless it snaps a timing belt, these 2 cams will never be out of timing. Okay, but if it is, look at this one. Look how far gone it is. Okay, it has 180 degrees to go. Okay, so this one is completely out of whack. This is on purpose, so I can show you the importance of checking both holes, like I did on the video of the 1.3 liter engine on the Mito. It is exactly the same procedure. You have to see here, take out this plug over here. You will not able to put this big tool, but you are able to put a smaller handmade tool or a mirror to see if everything is okay. But like I told you, only if you have a snap on the timing belt, you will have that kind of issues. So a crank no start you start to see the timing, obviously, and do not forget to see the camshaft, if it is synchronized or not. If you have a low compression issue on your car, make sure of that, okay? How to actually do this, what you need to do is not to remove the top of the head, not the injectors, none of that, not even the belt for that matter, okay? What you have to do is to take out here these two bolts, and in this way, these sprockets do not have keyway. They are free, 360 degrees, okay? And you just have to rotate that one that is wrong to its place, and then do again here the two bolts. This hole over here is for the oil fill-up tube. This hole over here is for the vacuum pump. Remove and actually do that procedure that I told you for the oil leaks over here, okay? For the actual procedure of that, let's take that for another video, because it is a little bit tricky to do so. Not difficult, but tricky to do. So let's do that on another video, okay? Let's carry on. Take out here the nut for the tensioner. No need to remove right now the tensioner, but you can remove the nut. It is a very special nut. You can reuse this nut. You should reuse it, okay? Sometimes new ones are not as good as the factory ones. Now, unlike the twin spark, to remove it is really very, very easy. You do not need to remove here the sprocket, but you have to alleviate the bolt because of the adjustment. And because of that, I will remove the sprocket to gain better access to the water pump and to see if I have any oil leaks on the seals. Come on. Okay, so here you go. By the way, again and again and again, do not use any type of glue, of Loctite on the fastener, on the bolt. This over here is ceramic paste, is a grease. And also I use grease here on the back side of the sprocket, so I can have a perfect feel for the adjustment of the sprocket. Like so, very smooth. No glue whatsoever is required, and you will damage something if you do that, okay? Like you saw in the video of the indestructible 8-valve engines, if you use the glue, you can really damage something, okay? So if I do not have any oil leaks on the seals, I do not replace them. They are very, very durable. These ones are very, very good. They are from Corteco, from factory. If you need to replace them, I already did a video for that, actually. Yeah, I did. On that 8-valve on the 159. So you can check that out. It is exactly the same procedure, using this indent over here as a ramp to take out the seal, and this one over here, you just destroy it and put a new one, okay? The tensioner comes out very easily. You have here idler pulley with a 22mm socket, very much tight. And this is the one that I keep forgetting to remember if it is correctly torqued or not. Just a thing of mine, okay? I am always afraid to forget about it. Make sure that do not have any washers on the back side and also on the front side, because the new timing kit normally brings two types of bolts, like I told you on the other video of the timing. Check over here the bolt. It has a little bit of corrosion, which means that you have to use a little bit of grease, okay, to protect, or anti-seize to protect it in the future. Now the water pump has here 3 bolts with 6mm socket, inner socket. These bolts use Loctite, they have to prevent, on this case over here, oil, okay, and down there antifreeze to come out. Like I said on the other video, it is best if you have space to tap them before, but on this case I do not. Can you see the Loctite from factory? This one over here is not easy. You have to do it with an Allen, a normal wrench. So you can try like this, for example. Good for busting the knuckles. But like this, I believe I can. The danger is to damage the head of the bolt. Let's see if I can. It is not really in there. So we can start like this, for example, and now continue with the ratchet. It will not, in this way, it will not harm the bolt. Okay, not much space. Be careful with that too. Mainly if you have a ratchet that does not have this, very difficult to take out afterwards. Okay, so no, going back again and do it with the old style wrench. So basically I want to take this out and then take out the water pump. These water pumps do not use RTV, they use a metallic gasket. You cannot use RTV on the metallic gasket. This one has just a little smidge of RTV. Okay, not too bad. But I will not use RTV at all, okay? It's just a matter of doing a very thorough cleaning and degreasing over here. Normally the blade is not necessary, but to take out the RTV I use it. See if no debris go to the inside of the engine. As you can see, it is very, very nice because it had paraflow up always. Now is not the case. The customer does not want to put in, and we will see how that is going to turn out a few years later. Clean out the inside of the hose very well. This is a real danger for the inside of the engine. For the coolant passageways between cylinders, we have very, very tiny passageways, and this can be stuck on there or on the radiator, for example, the inside of the radiator. This is why I do not advise at all for RTV. As you can see over here, this water pump is very high quality. It is the original one. It is the factory supplier after all, okay? So we have here a very good mass over here of weight that is very crucial for the vibrations of the harmonic vibrations of the belt. You have here a very nice composite impeller, which is good, well, really excellent for corrosion resistance. And you have here a metallic gasket that is very rare to find on aftermarket water pumps. So this one is not cheap, yes, but it is really good, very resistant and very high quality in all aspects, okay? Actually, you can see over here that this water pump itself was to be supplied for the factory itself, but they scrape off, as you can feel, they scrape off the markings of Fiat Group, and they put here the Pierburg sticker on it, okay? So down on the description will be the part numbers for this if you are interested in buying, okay? The correct torque for these bolts are between 20 and 25 Newton meters. I will replace the thermostat, yes, but it is not crucial or necessary if your temperature is correct on the inside of the car. If you have, on this case, at 90 degrees on the cluster, you can continue with your thermostat, okay? No need to remove it, to replace it just because it is a little bit expensive, as you can imagine. But on this car, the temperature is not fixed on the service temperature. Salt is dropping, so I have to replace it. And to do that, obviously you have to take out the coolant or part of the coolant. So we decided to do all in one go, to do the timing components, water pump and the thermostat. We have here this tensioner, which actually houses this sprocket. Okay, we have here the idler pulley. And we have here a bag of bolts. Like I told you on the other video, we have two types of bolts, and we are to use only one of them. Put this to a side safely. Make sure not to drop it on the floor. Okay, this is a composite. It may crack, and this one may bend. On the lower side over here, you have the belt itself. Now you're about to ask me on the comments, how many teeth or tooths have on this engine? I don't know. I have no idea. Not on that one, not on that one. I really do not have a clue because I do not do it like that. I do not count by the teeth. Normally, I just go to the parts guy and I say to this car with this part, with this engine number, I want a timing kit, okay, a timing set. And then they do not ask me about that because what differs is if you have a engine number like the A5000 that you have over here, it is one type of timing belt. If you have another type of engine, another code of engine, a more modern one, for example, you have another type. I do not like to do it by the number of teeth because that leads me to a rabbit hole that I really do not like, because that is asking for trouble. That's why, because sometimes I have timing belts that the lines do not line up with the correct markings, like I told you on the other video, that marking over there. That is why I do not like to use the markings at all. I just use the locking tools. So do not ask me about the number of teeth. I will just reply to you, use the number of the engine to check which is which. So comparing here the idler pulley and bolt with the new one, everything seems good. The heights are the same. Everything is cool. Okay, use some NTCs over here and put it in place. Make sure to put a good amount on this case. You can torque this down right away, and you should. Cannot tell you about the correct spec of torque. I just do it by feel. But it should be around 40 Newton meters on that area, okay? Okay. Make sure it spins freely. Again, here on the tensioner, make sure everything is okay. Make sure everything is similar. This spike over here has to meet that round. Hey, look at that. That old one, I think this is INA, did not have the hole, or is covered or something. Very strange. So you should have a hole. Very strange. You should have a hole because this marking over here will move, as you can see. It should be over there, like I told you on the other video of the 159. This one probably had a scratch mark, something. Okay, but it's not important right now. Okay, so on the back side, everything is very similar. The construction is different, but that does not matter. Although I already seen this one fail on the Julietas. Maybe. This is INA, I believe. Starts with the letter F, the part number, so it must be INA. So this is the original one. It is a Litens / Dico part, very high quality. Okay. So as you are putting the tensioner in, the stud goes over here, and that little dimple goes over here. That is there on this side of the engine. There is the stud, and the dimple is over there. This stud is supposed to move like this. You can find over there that dimple. Secure it with the nut, but do not tighten the nut all the way. Just enough for the tensioner to move without coming out of the dimple. Unlike the twin spark and the 8-valve JTD engine, there is no danger to damage here this sprocket because the target for the sensor, so the sensor is over here on the outside, the target is just this little bump over here, so this tool will not damage anything over here if it is the correct tool, okay? So you can put this with much more peace of mind. Make sure that the sprocket is correctly aligned before putting in the screw. Sometimes it's okay. So the screw goes in, but just hand tight, or not that much even. Not so much so it does not do this, like flappy. So you do the bolt just right to the end and then take a little bit out, just like this, okay? Just to be very firm, but moves about. Don't forget that the camshafts both are locked in place with the tools, okay? So let's see if these marks on this belt line up. So we have here a mark on a dimple, on the tooth. We have here another mark on a tooth. We have the arrows, and we have another mark on the middle of a tooth. Normally that goes to the crankshaft. So one on a crankshaft, one over here, and another one over there. This high pressure fuel pump has a mark just like this one, so you need to put that in time, okay? Synchronized. Not completely necessary here on the high pressure fuel pump, but if it is there, you should respect it. Make sure that your sprocket is all the way to this side. Meanwhile, make sure that the belt does not slip on the crankshaft, and you can use your locking tool to make sure that the crankshaft does not move also. Let's try again. Thing is, I cannot see because of the camera. This is really one of the easiest timing jobs to do. So you can see the mark over there, mark over there. Now it's a matter of stretching the belt. Remember that this bolt is loosened, okay? Because you have your camshafts locked, and you want to put tension on a belt with this bolt not tightened, so you can have the rotation, the adjustment here of this sprocket in order to have a perfect timing. Now for the tensioner, we have here a flat spot, and you have a groove on the block on the side of the engine, and you want to put a tool to push this to the left side, and that way that arrow would go to the hole that is not on this case, okay? And that means that the belt is stretched. Already showed you how to do that on other videos, but I'll try to show you anyway on this one. The space is not very good, but still I'll try to show you, okay? With one hand I like to put the screwdriver over here. And with the other hand, I go to the other side and go tighten the nut. This is just to rotate the engine a bunch of times. It is not the final adjustment of the tension of the belt. The same as for the torquing of the nut. Not necessary to put the 25 millimeters right away. Over here it does not need to be 110 right now, because you want to rotate the engine in order to do the final adjustment, and you don't want to stress the bolt. Now we can remove here the tool, and also remove the tool on the crankshaft. Rotate the engine at least 2 times. One. Remember that the markings on the belt will never meet again, and the markings on the high pressure fuel pump also will never meet again. You are completely dependent on the locking tools of the camshaft and on the crankshaft. Here we go. See over here if it is necessary any adjustment. Normally it is just a fine one. Oh wait, everything is okay. So very rarely this happens. You do not need to do any adjustments. If you need to do so, on the beginning of the video I just showed you how to do that, so you just repeat that process. Now in this way, being all adjusted, I can save my locking tools, okay? I can do 110 over here, I can readjust the position of the tensioner to see if it is okay, and do the 25 over there on that nut, and start the assembly on the covers. If much, I like to leave it just a smidge over the hole, because I know that the belt will lose some of its stretching over the first few weeks, and then I know that the harrow will be exactly on point with the hole. But if you are afraid of doing that, just keep it on the hole, okay? Now it is time for the covers, and if you want me to talk about this, I can a little bit. This is for the adjustment. So you have here a bracket over here, and in order to be perfectly flat with the side of the engine, you can adjust this. So if you are not sure, what can you do is you can turn it a bit, you can put this in place, and then on the hole over there you have the indentations for a screwdriver, for example, in order to screw this back out to be touching the face of the side of the engine. Normally it is not necessary to do any of that. That normally does not move all that much during our job, okay? But if you are interested in doing that, you can do so. I also normally remove this in just one piece, like you can see over here. Okay, another thing that is very important, and I already talked about that on another video, was this two covers have to meet perfectly like so. So on these two tabs, I already saw them like this, for example, or something like that, or even like so sometimes. Okay, these two ones broken, and then if that happens, this can scrape onto the cam belt. That is not really that good. So I'll show you my way of putting all of this, okay, to finalize here the work. I usually start here with this lower part. We have 3 screws, or 3 bolts that are the same as the top ones. Are these ones, okay, completely the same. And we have a different one, just one. On the entire assembly, just one that is different is the one that goes over here. As you can see, this is very thin, and the rest of them are very high. So you have just one that is different, 5mm head, and this one's also work with 5 mm socket, but they are specific for Fiat Group. Okay. The bolts just by hand, and leave this one out so you can flap this out in order to engage the other upper cover. This procedure is also on my video about the high pressure fuel pump if you want to check that out. Okay, but I'll do it anyway. So this wiring may, okay, come to the side. Almost there. If you want to, you can pull up this return line for the coolant. In the meantime, make sure that the tabs go into that lower cover. Make sure down there, just saw it coming out of place. Make sure that is in there. Okay, so screws in. Don't forget that lower one. That was actually this one, but it is the same. About the accessories belt, I already have videos down in the description for the complete assembly, including the replacement of the tensioner, of the idle pulley, of the harmonic balancer, and so much more, okay? Now, if you saw the video of the thermostat over here, you notice that we have a hose down there that goes to the heater core, okay? Now, if you blow air on this hose, just one side of the hose, the air will expel the antifreeze or the coolant until that lower part of the radiator. So it is one more way to expel all of the coolant the most as possible of your system. So it's just some paper to create here some pressure. Until you hear nothing but air. That's it. Make sure all of the vapor is out and just finish the assemble. Once again, make sure to cycle the ignition a bunch of times. So you want to switch on the ignition, let it stay on for about 10 to 20 seconds, then switch off again with 1, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, on again for between 10 and 20 seconds. In this way, the fuel pump that is inside of the fuel tank will cycle all of the air out, most of it anyway, okay? In that way, it will be much easier to start the engine without damaging the battery and the starter and the alternator for that matter. And your patience. Okay, stabilizing. Let's run for a few minutes, see if no oil leaks or coolant leaks are present, or fuel leaks also, and then you can let it running until you have your desired temperature on the gauge, and see if the fan kicks in at least one time. For that you have to have your AC system switched off, which it is. There we have it, it is running, everything is okay, the timing belt is okay, the accessories belt is okay too, no water leaks are present, the car does not shake at idle, everything is nice. As you saw in the other video, the intake manifold here is taken care of, the EGR2, the thermostat as well, everything is really good. For the coolant that may drop onto the engine bay, water from the tap, like a garden hose or something, you can wash that off, no problems whatsoever. If you want to treat your engine, you can do this, okay, no problems whatsoever. I usually do it once a year to protect the aluminium for corroding, okay, like this. Normally I do this with the engine off, but it is the same, and I'll normally let it rest for a few hours to soak in all of the WD-40. Well, guys, that is it. Down on the description you have a lot of stuff that can and will be useful for you regarding this job over here, regarding a lot of stuff that can and will be useful for you. I have this car over here to do suspension components over there. As you can see, I have a bunch of here. Okay, I already did videos for that, so I will leave you down on the description the videos that I already have for that. I also will do, again, like I told you, another manifold, and I will do a bearing on the wheel, but I do not have the press to show you how it's done, so maybe I will not show you that. But it is not very difficult to understand, but you have to have very specialized tools for that. For that you have to take out the spindle over here, and for that I already show you how it's done. So you just take your spindle, go to a workshop with your new bearing, and in that way the guy at that workshop will press it out for you and press it in again, okay? I also will have here a inner tie rod. I already did a video for that on the 159, but I will do it here on this 147. It is very similar, and probably I will do a very short video for this as well, okay? Don't forget that down on the description I really have a lot of stuff that can and will be useful for you, and I really hope you guys are enjoying these videos, okay? Don't forget that also down on the description I have links for helps for the channel. If you are able to do so, it will be very important for me and for the channel for that matter, okay? So we can keep going forward with these videos, okay? Also I have here another 147, this time with the mythic 8-valve engine. I will do a total cleanup over here. This is here for a clutch and flywheel assembly. I already have a video for that. It is also down on the description if you want to know more, okay? I also have a video for this engine, a tear down for this engine. I have videos for lack of power, brakes, really a lot of stuff that can and will be useful for you. I see you next time, guys. Bye.